up, y'all? FarmerQ here. Today we're going to be doing some cut down and cleanup because we got to get ready for the fall. I know it's not even July yet, but look, the best gardens come with the most preparation. So we're going to get some cut down happening. We're going to cut down all this corn because we've gotten all the corn harvested that I want to harvest. So we're going to cut all the corn stalks down. We're going to cut these collards all down because the bugs are having a little bit too much fun with these collards. So we're going to get these cut out. We're going to cut the corn down. We're going to just get this stuff broke down later on, but for now we're going to be getting all this stuff cut down and cleaned up on today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get it.
Just like that. So what we want to do, we're cutting it at the base right here, and we're going to get TJ over here to come around and take these collars over here off to the side, but for now he can put them in the wheelbarrow over there. So once we get everything ready, we're gonna just put all of the collards over there in the compost pile, but until then we're gonna just put them in the wheelbarrow and get everything in one spot, because like I said, we're gonna come back later and we're gonna break all this stuff down. We're gonna make this stuff easier to compost. So as y'all can see though, we got some really big thick collard stalks. They did good when they were really putting out the green leaves without getting ate up too bad. But you know, we can spray and fight the bugs, but you know, we can also work around the bugs as well, because the bugs have their seasons. So we got to keep that in mind when we're gardening. So right now we're just doing a little bit of cut down and clean up, getting ready for the next season. We're gonna leave most of the summer stuff out here, so that's gonna be cool. But as y'all can see, the okra's not getting eaten up as bad, so it's a lot better off. We'll come over here on this side. Always leave the roots in the ground to break down. So we just put this over here. So as y'all can see, we got okra and we got a pepper that's kind of falling over, but you know, we'll leave that alone and let it kind of recuperate and do what it wants to do. But for now, we need to go ahead and get rid of the rest of these collards. So we're gonna do that. Look how, golly, those bugs definitely was doing their damage. This is a cocoon. Turned to a butterfly off that. So now these okra over here and this pepper, it's all gonna get more light, kind of grow up more. This squash is doing its thing anyway, so yeah. Just a weed. So yeah. And this is an okra plant. Golly, that's crazy. It was so shaded out that it barely was able to grow at all. But we got one strong okra right here. We got another one right here. We could even start some more okra. It's not too late for that. So we'll probably get into that maybe for the remainder of the summer. But we got the last of the summer crop with okra if we want to plant anything else for the summer. But anything that we plant mostly from this point is going to be for the fall. So let's keep it going. We're going to get over here to the corn. Like I said, we already harvested all this corn over here, And then a lot of this corn over here, like I harvested what I wanted to harvest off of what was good, but a lot of it just didn't grow like I wanted to grow. So we're gonna be composting a lot of this stuff, and I mean, we'll take the corn cobs off of them just to make sure that we don't have to deal with the corn cobs not composting. But other than that, we're gonna compost the whole thing, but we'll break it down later. So let's get started. Like I said, we're gonna leave the roots in the ground. It's gonna help somewhat restore what's there. And to be honest, y'all, this backyard, we only get about 6 hours of full sun during the day. So it's a little hard to get the best of what you can get when you gotta deal with that. But we do what we can, and we do pretty good. So here you go, TJ. Watch your step, but grab this for me. There you go. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna keep it going. Okay, we're getting some open space now. And y'all, what my plan to do with these areas over here, I got landscape fabric down, and I'm gonna pull these weeds out of here. And as we harvest everything and get everything through with, I'm gonna actually pull this landscape fabric out. We're gonna really try to work with just doing the areas like we need to without the landscape fabric, because this is such a small area that we don't have to work so much to pull the weeds. I can come out here and just get after them every now and then. But I want my compost to really integrate into the soil really easily, and it's not happening with this landscape fabric here. So I think in the future I will use it, but I'll set it up to where I can pull it back and I can add my compost, and I can just do mulch at the end of the season or something like that. But for right now, it's not doing as I would like for it to do in its full capacity. So that's why we are gonna do away with that landscape fabric. But for now, let's keep it going. See, we got plants like this where the plant's done producing pollen, but it hasn't even produced any pollinated corn or anything like that. So we really want to just get rid of this bed and cut our losses, and then start to get this bed prepped for what we're going to plant in it later. So let's go ahead and get rid of some of this. We've taken the good corn off of the plants that had the good corn on them in the bed. So yeah, we'll go ahead and just start making a little pile right here so we can get it to TJ a little bit easier in a minute. But we're taking all these corn plants out of this bed right now, because we're gonna get some bed prep done. We're gonna lay this bed to rest a little bit, get some plants started, you know, the whole nine. Right now, we're just coming through and cutting the corn at the root. We're gonna let the roots decompose into the beds, and we're just gonna keep it moving. I want to see something. It had some tassels, but they were just eaten away. So let's see what this. Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Like OCD's chick says, Nikki. So what we got in here? So we got a pretty decently pollinated little baby corn cob here. So we'll definitely take it inside and we'll do something with it. So like I said, we'll be going through the stalks and we'll be making sure that we harvest and salvage any corn that really looks like it could be a potential kind of baby corn cob. And we might even do a little video about it, so be on the lookout for that. But for right now, we're chopping all the corn down, because some of the corn back here even fell over. But we got corn back here that looks pretty promising, so we might actually have more corn than what we thought. So be on the lookout for that later, y'all. But I think that I definitely planted these beds a little bit too dense for the amount of light that I get. in this backyard. I don't get very much light, like I said earlier, as far as the amount of hours that I get. But one thing to kind of keep note of is the fact that even though I don't get that much light, if I don't plant things as dense as I planted it, I can still end up getting a pretty decent harvest off of stuff. So, and I mean, this year I've gotten some pretty good harvest, and I'm still getting good harvest as we speak from certain things. So certain things will do better without as much light, and certain things definitely will not thrive if the light situation is not really appropriate. And those same things that won't thrive under certain conditions will thrive. So always things to be on the lookout for. And cutting these corn down is going to open up light for some of the other plants in the garden back here in these containers, and we'll see what we get from those. So let's go ahead and take this pile of corn right here, give it to old TJ. Watch your step, TJ. Yeah, there you go. There you go. We got a nice stack of corn going over there. But like I said, we're gonna compost all this stuff. We're not wasting none of this. I'm just gonna make sure that it's chopped down and all the kernels are taken off of it. Because we can take some of this stuff, some of the pollinated kernels, and we can take seed. Because even though these plants themselves may not look like they're thriving per se, the fact that they produce seed and viable seed within this environment tells me that we're gonna have a little bit easier of a thriving situation later on. And y'all look, this bed, this soil is definitely pretty hard. So we're definitely gonna have to mulch better this next season. I wanna make sure that I can't stand on these beds like this, but we're gonna definitely, when we come to the tomato bed and cut those corn plants out, we're gonna come back with a fresh layer of compost. We're gonna mulch it really well, make sure it's really protected, so that we can make sure that the water that we're getting in these beds are really going to a good spot. So your soil mix is another thing to consider in this kind of a situation, you know, because you may want a mix that's gonna hold water better if you notice that at the end of a bed's production season, hey, this soil is really hard. Okay, well, we know that we didn't hold on to water like we really maybe needed to, because this is a pretty tall raised bed here. So these are things to keep in mind. But yes, this is a pretty big thicket of corn here. Here you go, TJ. Put it right on you. There you go. We got cobs over there too. So as y'all can see, this bed is cleared out, and we're gonna let it rest for today because we got some work to do this morning when we head out and everything. But we're gonna come back later and we're gonna make sure that we cover the beds, get it nice and covered with a nice compost layer, get some mulch over top of it, and then even maybe add some drip to it to really accommodate for the open spaces. But you know, the garden's always a work in progress, so you have to take these things into consideration. All right, so now we're over here onto the tomato bed, the tomato corn bed, which we will never plant together again. But we have some stakes out here, and we have some string out here that, you know, TJ's gonna help us out with. He's bringing us some stakes and string, and we're gonna basically take the rest of these stakes here, use the existing stakes, and really just try to make sure that these tomato plants are supported when we take all these corn plants out. So I'm gonna tell you too, we're also gonna do a harvest video later to get all of the fruits off the tomato plants to allow the plants to really just reestablish their vegetative growth and come into a new flush of fruit so that we can really get optimal nutrition to the plants. Because once this corn is gone, of course the tomato is gonna have a lot more of a food source. So be on the lookout for that too. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on the corn here. You might see the tomatoes start to attempt to fall over on some instances, but we'll do what we have to do to make sure that that doesn't happen too much. Okay, so here we go. Here's our first instance of the tomatoes kind of holding on to the corn plant. We just got to be really delicate with it. There we go. And we're out of there. Like I said, I'm not planning on planting corn and tomatoes in the same bed again unless I do a fewer amount inside of this area, because light is everything when you're gardening, y'all. It's everything. And there's other things that mean quite a bit to gardening as well, but your light situation means a whole lot. So I want y'all to take a look at something real quick. The fact that there is fencing at every single point, and there's a house, and my house is facing the east, that means that when the sun rises, I don't catch first light. I catch light at about, I'd say about 10:30 a.m. or 11, 10:30, 11 back here. That's when the garden starts to get light. And then we lose light at about 5 to 6 p.m. So because we have this whole cascade of houses over here, so we don't catch the sunset. What that does is create a microclimate for the garden where we stay cooler back here, but it also makes us not be able to have as much light in the prime of the season. So these things we have to consider when we're actually out here gardening. And we got so much tomato in these beds that are just intergrown into the corn over here. And we're gonna make sure that the tomatoes are supported, because we're gonna allow the tomatoes to really just keep on producing for the season, because they will produce into the fall. I'm gonna cut a few of these right now. Okay. Grab these. And we definitely have some more cobs back here that we can really salvage some seed from. And we'll definitely take some seed and save it. And we'll even be putting some on the flip side marketplace potentially, so be on the lookout. But who knows, just be on the lookout. So see, we got some cobs back here that you could tell have kernels in them. So yeah, we're gonna definitely salvage those on this evening. So we're making some headway into the bed. I'm gonna keep it going. Oh, the tomatoes smell so fragrant. Here you go, TJ. Just keep it going. The tomatoes look like they're holding up just fine. All right, so now we have cleared out enough to where we can come over here and we can clear out this over here. So let's get into it from this perspective, from this angle. So we got to be a little bit more careful with this because the tomatoes kind of are growing around it, but what we got to do is really just crack some of these leaves down. We can really just pull it on out. So it's pretty cool. There we go. Look at that. We got a ripe yellow gooseberry tomato, y'all. Look at how pretty that is. We're gonna get a lot more ripe tomatoes as we go forward too, because we're gonna be letting them ripen in the house. So let's keep getting these corn plants out. We only have 3 more corn plants in the bed, so let's get them out. Got one. We got 2. And this one's attached to this stake here, so I'm gonna have to definitely just, okay. Yeah, let's cut this one at a few spots so we can make sure that we don't have any problems with it. Okay, so yeah, this one's attached to this corn plant, this tomato is, so we can take this and we can make another attachment here to this stake. Just like this. So, there we go. And we're set on that. Here you go, TJ. We have 2 more corn plants to get out of here. So, let's get this one, which is already cut. Let me make sure that we don't rip leaves off. There you go. And we got 1 more back here to cut down, so let's get this one. TJ's got it. All right, so as y'all can see, this bed, it just has its tomato game on point. We probably got to stake the tomatoes at a few more different points and make sure that they're protected, but we got corn over here as well. We're gonna go ahead and cut these down and see what we can get from these. But as y'all can see, back here, we got to pull all this grass up back here too. We got some grass that was growing back in the cut, so these tomatoes are going to do a lot better. We're going to trim them down at the tops, but they have a lot of flowers on them, so we'll maybe allow some of them to develop, but it'll be cool to see exactly what happens with it. So let's go ahead and get this. Whoa, that's a lot of corn. Y'all, look at this. Look at how much corn that is. And we have so much corn to go through when I get home this evening, because TJ's gonna be gone, but I got a lot of corn to go through and it's gonna be fun, so I'm looking forward to it. Let me go ahead and try to shimmy on back here and see if I can find a little squeeze point to where I can cut this corn out of the ground right here too. Because believe it or not, the corn that was in the ground over here, it's got some pretty thick corn on it, as y'all can see here. It's pretty nice. And the crazy thing is that corn just like was spitting off different. Wow, okay. So some of the corn obviously isn't producing anything but over here, but some of it, well, I didn't have any water for this corn all season either, so that's something to also consider. Oh man. Oh yeah, these have corn in them for sure. This will be a lot of seed to actually harvest, so I think I'll take this corn, any kernels that are on these cobs over here on this stack of corn, I'll be taking for seed. So we'll have a nice ample supply of corn seed for the following season, so I'll be looking forward to that myself. So let's go ahead and cut this one down. And we got 1 more here. So crazy to me, like even the short small corn still produce some small ears with some seed on it. So yeah, let's get from back here. Oh. So we got some good growth going on in the watermelon here. We'll see what happens with it, but as y'all can see, we've gotten some nice clearing done. We got some work to do this evening and tomorrow morning and everything like that, but for right now, we got our stack of corn over here, our massive stack of corn that I got to go through, and then we're gonna go through that. We're gonna break it down, make compostable material out of it, take all the cobs, do what we do with them. We'll figure some stuff out. All right, y'all, so we just had an intense session of garden cleaning and getting all that stuff together. So next time we get together, we're gonna be getting some seed harvested off the corn kernels, and we're gonna be chopping them down and making them compostable. They compost how they are now, but we need to make them compost a little bit faster. So we're gonna chop them down in the next video. We're gonna also be taking the cobs and figuring out what we're gonna do with those as well. So we got a lot of work to do.
And that was awesome. We had fun out here today, and we're gonna call it quits for now. So y'all know what that means. That's FarmerQ out.